Okay, so this is absolutely insane. On February 5th, something happened that's never happened before in the AI world. OpenAI and Anthropic, they literally released their biggest models on the exact same day. Not the same week, not the same month, the same day, within minutes of each other. I've spent the last 48 hours testing both of these models, and what I found completely contradicts what every benchmark is telling you. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly which one you should actually be using. Alright, quick rundown of what we're covering today. First, I'm breaking down Claude Opus 4.6, Anthropic's new flagship that has a context window so massive it can literally read and remember an entire novel while you're talking to it. We're talking 1 million tokens here. Then, GPT 5.3 Codex from OpenAI, and this thing is 25% faster than anything they've released before. Plus, it can literally build itself. Yeah, you heard that right. I'll show you the real-world tests that nobody's talking about, the benchmarks that actually matter, and the one test where the worse model absolutely destroyed the better one. Plus, I've got insider information about which model the actual developers at these companies are using for their own work. And it's not what you'd expect. So let me paint you a picture. Anthropic drops Claude Opus 4.6 at 9 a.m. Eastern. The tech world loses its mind. This is their most powerful model ever. Everyone's talking about it. Benchmarks are flying around. People are testing it live on stream. Then, 20 minutes later, OpenAI counters with GPT 5.3 Codex. But which one is actually better? That's what everyone wants to know. Now, before I show you the head-to-head comparison that everyone's been waiting for, you need to understand something crucial about how these models think. Because if you don't get this part, the benchmark numbers won't make any sense. And there's one benchmark in particular, one test, where the model that was supposed to lose actually scored a perfect 100%. Not 99, not 98, 220 out of 220 points. Perfect. Let me explain what's really going on under the hood. Okay, so here's the deal with these two models. They're solving the same problem, but they're doing it in completely different ways. Claude Opus 4.6 is like that person on your team who takes their time, reads everything twice, thinks deeply about the problem, and then gives you an incredibly thorough answer. Anthropic calls this adaptive thinking. The model literally decides how much brain power to use based on how hard the question is. Simple question, quick answer. Complex problem? It goes deep, like really deep, and thinks it through step by step. It's got this insane 1 million token context window, which in normal person terms means it can process about 750,000 words at once. That's roughly 2 entire novels, and it remembers all of it, every detail. Plus, they added this thing called agent teams, where you can have multiple AI agents working on different parts of the same project simultaneously. Now, GPT 5.3 Codex? Completely different philosophy. This thing is built for speed and autonomy. It's 25% faster than the previous version, and here's the wild part. OpenAI literally used early versions of this model to debug and improve itself. The AI was fixing its own bugs, managing its own deployment, running its own tests. It's like they created a coder that can improve its own code. That's a little bit terrifying when you think about it. And they added this feature called real-time steering, which means you can interrupt it while it's working, give it feedback, and it adjusts on the fly without losing context. Alright, benchmark time. But I'm not just gonna throw numbers at you. I'm gonna tell you what they actually mean. On Terminal Bench 2.0, which tests how well these models can work in command line environments. You know, real developer stuff. GPT 5.3 Codex scored 77.3%. Claude Opus 4.6, 65.4%. That's a massive 12-point gap. OpenAI wins, right? But then you look at GDPval. That's a test for professional knowledge work like financial analysis, legal documents, business strategy. And Claude Opus 4.6 scores 1,606 ELO points. That's 144 points higher than GPT 5.2. In competitive ranking terms, that means Opus wins about 70% of the time in high-level professional scenarios. Here's where it gets really interesting though. A developer named Alex Carter ran his own test. He's been testing AI models for years with the same 11 coding challenges. One shot to get it right, no iterations, no do-overs. He ran Claude Opus 4.6 first. Perfect score. Then another perfect score. Then another. By the end, Opus 4.6 scored 220 out of 220. A perfect 100%. He'd never seen that before. Not from GPT-4, not from Gemini, not from any previous Claude model. He thought his testing framework was broken. Then he ran GPT 5.3 Codex on the same tests. It failed on basic file handling. It struggled with authentication. It had issues that shouldn't exist in a frontier model. There's another team that built a Counter-Strike clone using both models. Know what happened? GPT 5.3 Codex finished every single prompt in about half the time, blazing fast. But Claude Opus 4.6 won on output quality for almost every single prompt. The code was cleaner, the logic was better, the maps were more realistic. Speed versus quality. That's the trade-off. So at this point you're probably thinking, okay, but which one should I actually use? And that's the million-dollar question. Literally. Because companies are making million-dollar infrastructure decisions based on this choice right now. Anthropic has always been known for safety and reliability. Their models were careful, thoughtful, but sometimes a bit slow. OpenAI has always been known for raw power and speed. Their models were fast, aggressive, but sometimes skipped steps. But if you look at these new releases, they've literally swapped strategies. Claude Opus 4.6's announcement emphasizes that it plans more carefully, sustains agentic tasks for longer, thinks more deeply. They added agent teams for complex parallel work. The message? We're not shallow anymore. GPT 5.3 Codex's announcement leads with 25% faster, and you can steer and interact while it's working. Real-time feedback. The message? We're not slow anymore. They're converging. Both companies looked at each other's strengths and said, we need that. And you know who figured this out first? The developers at these companies themselves. At Anthropic, engineers writing Claude code with Claude found that Opus 4.6 brings more focus to challenging parts without being told to, moves quickly through straightforward parts, handles ambiguous problems with better judgment. At OpenAI, their own research team used Codex to monitor and debug the training run, track patterns throughout training, and build rich applications to understand how the model's behavior differed from prior models. So, which one should you use? Here's my honest take after testing both extensively. If you're doing deep research, complex financial analysis, legal work, or anything that requires processing massive amounts of information with extreme accuracy, Claude Opus 4.6 is your model. If you're building software, running DevOps, doing rapid prototyping, or you need something that can work autonomously for hours without supervision, GPT 5.3 Codex is your model. But here's the truth. Most professionals I've talked to are using both. They use Opus for planning and research, then Codex for execution. They're complementary tools, not competitors. The real winner here isn't OpenAI or Anthropic, it's you. Because in one day, we got two absolutely incredible AI models that can do things that were impossible just months ago. If you found this useful, smash that like button. Genuinely helps the algorithm show this to more people who need to see it. Drop a comment and let me know. Team Claude or Team GPT? Which one are you using and why? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.